Hi, this is Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book to read for you. Today's book is Wonder of the Desert for 1982. So let's get started. All day long, the sun beats down on the desert. The air above the sand and rocks is hot and dry. Nothing moves, all is still. Can any plant and animal live in the harsh, dry land? Surprisingly, many do. Night is the time when the desert comes to life. At night, the starlight sky is clear. The heat of the day is gone. The air is very cool. Animals begin to stir. The first appearance are lizards and snakes hunting for food. The gecko lizard rests in the shade of a rock during the day, but after the sun sets, the gecko flicks out its sticky tongue to catch insects. Another kind of desert lizard is the chuckwalla. When the chuckwalla is in danger, it squeezes into a narrow space between two rocks. Then it gulps so much air that it swells like a balloon. It is stuck so tightly between the rocks that no animal can move. The chuckwalla stays that way until danger is past. The frigid toad lizard protects itself in another way. The scaly edge on its toes makes the lizard speedy digger. If an enemy comes near, the frigid toad lizard dives headfirst into the sand. It seems to swim out of sight in seconds. Like lizard, most desert snakes spend the hot day in the shade. The sidewinder, a small rattlesnake that lives in the North America desert, comes out in the late afternoon. The sidewinder gets its name because it moves by whipping its body sideways. It's easy to tell where a sidewinder had passed. Its body leaves marks in the sand. It does not rain very often in the desert, but when rain does fall, some animal appears as if by magic. One of them is the shadefoot toad. As soon as the weather becomes dry again, the spadefoot burrows backwards into the sand. It makes a snug home under the ground and goes to sleep. The spadefoot can sleep for almost a year. When there is heavy spring rain, the spadefoot come out and find a newly made pond. The toad mates with other spadefoots in the female eggs, where the female laid eggs. In just 1 or 2 days, the eggs hatch into tadpoles. In less than 4 weeks, they are grown. By this time, the desert sun had dried up the pond, and the spadefoot must go underground. Hundreds of different insects live in the desert. The black pennicray beetle, also called the circus bug, has a special way of dealing with enemies. It stands upside down and shoots out a bad smelling odor. The honeypot ant live on nectar from desert flowers. A few honeypot ants eat this sweet liquid, then it goes back to their nests underground. They feed the nectar to the other honeypot ants. These other ants become living food tanks for the whole colony. One of the most fearful creatures of all the desert is the scorpion. It is usually 2 or 3 inches long and has a stinger at the tip of its tail. As soon as the scorpion has a victim in its claws, it raises its tail over its own back. Then it stabs it prior. Most scorpions are very poisonous. Newborn scorpions climb onto their mother back and are carried everywhere for almost a week. Then they are old enough to catch their own spiders, ants, butterflies, and grasshoppers. One of the quickest desert animals is the roadrunner. This skinny bird, called the clown of the desert, runs swiftly to catch all sorts of insects and lizards. The roadrunner can move at a speed of 20 miles or 32 kilometer an hour. The roadrunner's foot has two toes that point to front and two toes that point to the back. The bird leaves a trail of X. You can always tell where a roadrunner had been, but you cannot tell which way it runs. The Glidden woodpecker and the elf owl are birds that live in holes in the cactus plants. The woodpecker peck a hole in the cactus that is large enough for a nest, where when the woodpecker moves to another cactus, the owl, the elf owl, moves into the empty nest. The tiny elf owl is a very smart hunter. It grabs the stalk of a plant and hangs upside down from it. Then the owl beats its wings to shake the stalk. This drives out all the insects resting there. Now the owl had plenty of food. One of the biggest birds of the desert is a vulture. Flying high in the sky, the vulture has such fine eyesight that it can see for miles. When it spots a dead animal far below, it swoops down by eating dead animals. Vulture helps to keep the desert clean. The desert is home for many kinds of mice and rats. The kangaroo rat measures only 12 inches or 30 kilometers long from the tip of its nose to the tip of its tail. It has short front legs and long back legs. It can jump more than 10 feet or 3 millers at a time. This tiny fellow also used their strong back legs to kick sand at enemies. Kangaroo rats live mostly on seeds. They stuff the seeds into pouches in their cheeks, then take them back to their cool burrow under the ground. The jackrabbit, like the rats and mice of the desert, does not drink much water. It gets all the water it needs from the plant it eats. When it's being chased, the jackrabbit can jump 15 feet or 4.5 meters in a single leap. One of the jackrabbit's enemies is a coyote. It has bushy tail and looks very much like a dog. At night, the coyote's lonely howl carried over the desert. Desert skunk will eat just about anything. All kinds of fruits, insect, mice, bird, and dead snakes. Like all cousin who lives in the forest, the desert skunk protects itself by giving off a very smelly spray. The desert is almost home of the badgers, ground squirrels, wild pigs, foxes, and bobcats, and lots more. Almost all desert animals are small. This is because there's not enough food and water in the desert for big animals to live on. All desert animals have special way of surviving in the desert, and this is also true for desert plants. The best known desert plant is the cactus. Cactus plants have fixed, shiny skin. They are covered with a kind of wax. The wax keeps the water inside the plant from drying in the hot sun. The thorns on the cactus protect itself from hungry animals. There are also many types of yucca plants in the desert. Some are small, some are large, but most yucca had large spear-like leaves. The Jatwa tree is the largest yucca. At least 25 kinds of birds build nests in the Jatwa tree. Spring rain bring color to the desert. White daisies, pink roses, and purple spring to life. But this beauty does not last long in the heat of the summer sun. Most desert trees and roots deep in the ground to find water. The roots of the McQuite tree can grow as far down at 100 feet or 30 meters. In the desert of North Africa, there are many palm trees. People eat the dates that grows on these trees. When they are grinded, the dates pits to make a drink. Palm leaves are used to make bacchus and the stems to make rope. When a palm tree dies, the wood is used to build things and to make fire. Every part of the tree is used. Palm trees need a lot of water to stay alive. That is why they grow only where water is, not too far down in the sand. A place in the desert where palm tree grows is called an oasis. People call nomads often wander from oasis to oasis. In fact, nomad means wanderers. Some nomads are shepherds. Others are traders carrying things to sell. The nomads face very harsh conditions in North Africa. The Sahara deserts, where sand dunes are hundreds of feet high and miles long, with a strong wind blow, the sand of the dunes fills the air. It is important for a person to see in a sandstorm. Travelers must stop and wait for the storm to end. The nomads are not as well suited to the desert as animals. They ride the camel. The camel is the perfect animal, or the perfect desert animal. It moves easily over the sand on wide feet. It has long lashes to keep sand out of its eyes, and it can shut the nostrils to keep sand out of its nose. In Oasis, a camel can drink 25 gallons or 95 liters of water in a few minutes. Then it's ready to go without water and food for many days. It does this by living off the fat in the hump on its back. The desert is a hard place to live in for people, animals, and plants, yet they are beautiful as the sunset purple and red over the wind-streaked sand. There is beauty in the colors of snakes and lizards and cactus flowers, and there is beauty in the flight of the hawks that soar far above the desert. It all makes the desert a very special home. So this was The Wonder of the Desert from 1982. If you like, subscribe, share, and comment. Have a groovy day with another video coming out real soon.